What the heck? Girl, I literally just put this somewhere and I lost it. It's in documents. Okay, then monthly session subscribers, session subscriber count.
Under this box, you want to check recent files, hit browse, go to whatever folder you save the outputs to, and then find the text file that says session subscriber.
That's not that we have not gotten that. Excuse me. Bro, what happened? Why is this happening? The fuck? Session sub-gifters. Okay, that is not what I want, girl. No! Oh, this is a mess. Oh, look what we did. Session subscriber score? No. You know why? Okay, I know why. I fucked it up. I fucked up. Session subscriber count. Let's find that again. Where are you? Okay, the reason it says that is because I haven't refreshed this in maybe a decade. Ugh. Oh my god, my eyes. Okay, we're good. I think. It'll fix itself in a second. Okay, and then if I do this... It'll catch up. All right, let's get into it. Hi Lady Bex, hi John, hi Upsy, hi everybody coming in. Thank you all for the hype train at the top of the stream. Yeah. We're gonna play some Mario PRT, and then we're gonna play Mario Kart. And we're gonna play Elden Ring, and we're gonna keep gaming until I don't game anymore. We're here until y'all want me to end. I'm doing good today, Rambo. How you doing? Alex, thank you for gifting a sub. Ugh. Hi, Necro. Live stream napping. I mean, yeah, I'm probably gonna sleep a lot, if I'm honest. I'll try not to, but... How was my Christmas? Pretty good. I didn't get a lot that I wanted, but That's why we're here doing a live stream together, because this is all I want, is I want gifted subs, I want to spend time with each other, have a good subathon, and that's it. Did you not enjoy your RuPaul's Mad Libs? Please, like literally every gay, or if someone knows you're gay in the family, they'll get you that for Christmas. Like it's literally $2 at the store. Like please. Literally. I'm like, girl. Oh, I'm second finally. I'm never first. They try to get me, girl. Hi, Mac. So if anybody's interested, so I did lots of stuff. Can you believe that? I was very productive yesterday. So this is so loud and it's on like 5%. So if you're interested to see these sub goals for the subathon, you can do ! Subathon. It'll display it in the chat for you. If you're interested in how to donate biddies and the sound commands that happen when biddies happen, do ! Bits. If you're interested to see if you're a subscriber, what sound commands you can use, do ! Commands. And yeah, I did lots of productivity stuff for the channel. So enjoy those features in the chat. Subscribers are the only ones that you can use sound commands. Oh, 2 8s in a row? Is that like good luck? Angel numbers. Oh, awkward for her. Hi, Diamond Form. Thank you. I don't know what to expect, but we're here together. We've gotten 7 so far. Our first goal is 25 and I'll do shot. I mean, not shots. I wouldn't do liquor. I would never do that. Okay, I'm here to win. Joy, you guess what? Guess what, Joy? Ligma. It isn't Quismos. We got robbed. Oh, look at that, Marshy gifting 3 subs. Thanks, Marshy. You are so... I added the sound commands like you wanted me to, Marshall. Oh, how joyous. Yeah, Joy got one. That's exciting. Very slay. Oh! The crumbs just fell into my coochie. Thank you. I didn't glue my wig down because if we get to 100 subs, I was like, I'm not trying to rip the glue off my forehead. Girl, this chair is beat the fuck up. Girl, is this map a pyramid scheme?
Call to me, call to me.
That is so loud. That is so loud. That's funny. So true, Summer. Wake everybody up, girl.
Now welcome to the queendom.
Okay, I like that you're doing them when I... Okay. You're so... Oh, I didn't save it. Wait for me to fix the volume, you freak. Wait, do the Eve Torres one. I want that to be loud. Shut up! Not the Meg beanie. Good to me. She's got everything I want, everything I need. She looks. Now I have to change my hat because I look like Meg. All right, you might as well. Okay. I was literally saying you could top it off with that one. Oh shit, the other ones are probably gonna be so loud too. Girl, this one was gonna be so loud.
This guy had a Pokemon. This guy had a Pokemon. This guy had a Pokemon. Hey, Stinky!
Very good tea.
I think that's it. I did these with another pair of headphones, that's why they're so loud. Okay. They're fixed. Yeah, literally, that would get us copywritten so fast. The Megatron! I don't... No offense, wait, the one episode that she goes blonde, have you seen that episode on, like, TikTok? She looks so... She's me. She gives mother with a blonde bob. Love Meg and a blonde bob. Okay, I'm good. I don't want to pay 21 for that. That's a lot. Actually, I should have. You look so pretty and comfy tonight. Thank you, Necro. Well, I didn't want to get into like super high drags if I'm gonna have to do a blue lip and a red bob later, and that's if I do. And I didn't want to glue my wig down, so I put on this beanie, and yeah, just want to be super comfy and relaxed, and yeah, slay fierce. I really want to eat this. Can I eat this? Is that okay? Marshall, can you give a shout out for Joy, please? No, I did. I really ate. And I really want to eat. Like, what kind of gummies? You're eating cummies? What the? What does that mean? You're hard at work? You're eating cocaine gummies? That wasn't planned. All right. Bunny Boy bingo card, cocaine gummies, and Naraka blade point real. I want to learn how to pogo stick. Why are you top in 10? The non-binary person named 10 looking at you like, what? What was that? I'm literally eating this toadette up. Get fucking wrecked. Hi, Ava. Good morning. Yeah, very much, my morning. Woke up and immediately threw this face on. If I have to sleep on stream, I literally have to sleep on the floor. At least I have like a mattress pad. That'll be good. But I haven't slept on my floor since the last subathon. Actually, that's a lie. I slept on my floor during the summer because I only had the AC in here. Hi, Gabe. Almost 30. And that means almost 3 years. Yeah, if you're looking, so I added more sound commands. I added it so there's new biddy noises for certain amounts of biddies. And the subathon will tell you what the things are going in the chat. So I think 25 is the first one, and it's me doing... The way I just turned the volume up on that. So yeah. It's gonna spam the chat, but I'd rather it spam the chat than be on my screen. I also feel like that's very generous because, like, I'm also doing usually people do, my God, I had one sip of G Fuel and I'm burping up a storm. I just woke up. Usually people do with subathons, they either do like goals or they do the uncapped like amount of hours. So I'm doing both, which is nice, I guess, to my viewers. However you want to see it. Gabe, thank you so much for gifting a sub. I appreciate it. We're currently at 6 hours. We started at 3 hours and then already... Oh. Did you see the timer go up by intervals? Oh, wow. That was kind of fierce. I liked how it did that. It went boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. Ava, thank you for gifting 5 subs. And Gabe, thank you for gifting a sub. Ranking the timer at almost 7 hours now. So, very slay. Oh, I have, like, my green screen's a specific color, so if we get green hair, it should be fine. I didn't mean, like, green hair, like, a green screen will chroma key it out. I meant, like, I'm not gonna wear blonde. I'll be Shotzi Blackheart for the duration of the next couple months, if we get that far. Just exclamation point commands. "24 hours, what happens if it goes over?" We just keep going. There's no cap. Like, I could stream for a week if you guys keep gifting subs. I'm dead serious, I would. I don't have anything planned until the second week in January. Maddie wants us to go until Maddie's birthday, and I think Maddie's birthday is at the end of the month, or January 1st or 2nd. But again, I'm not sure how far we'll get. I'm not really sure. These orbs suck, girl. I didn't mean that. I didn't say the orbs suck. I did not say that. I just got cursed. Okay. I'll show you what's up, Bowser. Yeah, these sweet, beautiful orbs. You don't like orbs? Take this! This is the last board in this game, so we're gonna have to go to either a new Mario Party or we'll start our Mario Kart spree. So what I planned originally for the subathon is that we would do a lot of Mario Parties and Mario Karts, but specifically Mario Kart, because I have Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart Double Dash, Mario Kart DS, Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart 7, the Nintendo 64 version, the Nintendo whatever version. So I have a bunch of different iterations of the Mario Kart games. Also weird that Mario Kart 6 and 7 came out on the Nintendo DS, but it's taken so many decades for us to get another Mario Kart game, but they just piped them out on the DS. Like, what was that? What is this? One of the Bowser's minion has a precious door key. Yeah, we can definitely do multiplayer on 8. I was almost going to do that. Well, I want to play the new Mario Party, but I don't think 3 people in the chat have it. Because I want to play it, like, online. Banter. People calling Bowser Jr. BJ. Please, he's a child. Oh. 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 Oh, I'm not very good at this one, guys. Oh my god. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, this is gonna be a close one. Oh, Jesus Christ. We did it. I have it, I just bought it. Is it Superstars or All Stars? Or is it Dragula? Is it Titans? Is it All Stars? Is it the Switch? Is it, what is it? I'm just naming different versions. Is it Canada versus the world? Superstars. Because you're a champ. Why is my eyebrow itchy? Like, how does your eyebrow get itchy? You got lucky, bitch. I don't think I have it installed, so we'd have to do it later. Oh my god, my eyebrow is so itchy. Stop this madness. Oh, period. Get your vaccination, bestie. It's All-Star 7, all winners versus Canada versus the world. What was that one? Oh, Queen of the Universe? Was that the singing one? I forgot Jujubee was on that. Oh. The way she literally DJ AF, she went on every show she could. Honestly, queen, that's my mother. Everybody was dragging her, but I'm like, that's literally my mother. It's always the right. Okay, I lied. It's always the right. Okay, it's always the right. Okay. She did Canada versus the world. She was on. What? I thought you were literally saying she did Canada's versus the world and then got cut. I was like, oh! So there's a chance when I wake up for work, you'll still be on stream. Well, if you gift enough subs to make it happen, that's possible, baby. If you gift 10 now, that's like... Carry the one. Math equations. 10. 10. I think it was just shy of 48 hours. We gonna beat it? I hope so. I really want to, but I don't know. I'm praying. I really want to beat our last record. Oh, I have to be the Dodger? I remember going to work multiple times during your last subathon. I think that was my birthday, right? That was back in March. Oh yeah, I'll beat you. Well, I have to get out of drag and then I have to get in drag. So yeah, I will change. Oh, I was looking at chat. My birthday's March 11th. I'm a Pisces. I'm a Pisces. Oh, excuse me. The caffeine's still getting into my system, excuse me. March 9th. My mom and I's birthdays are like back to back. Hers is actually on St. Patrick's Day, which is funny because we're both ginger. What did what's her name say on that show? Didn't she play St. Patty? It was what's her name? I don't even fuck. John Burrs. She said well, she played St. Patty for a Snatch game. So real. Oh, the little bow. This little bow. My little piss slit. Wow. I'm gonna deal or no deal her. I'm gonna go right above. Or what is it? 5 Below. That's not a show. That's a store. Oh my god. My brain needs to wake up. What is that show? Jeopardy? No. Wheel of Fortune? No. Price is Right. My god. St. Patrick's Day is just an excuse for a bunch of white people to get drunk. Yeah. All the Karens gather around. It's a fake cigarette. They need to, honestly, guys, I think they need to retire Snatch Game. I'll say it. They need to change it to a different game show. It needs to be like, I don't know. Definitely needs to be different. If they're gonna keep casting younger queens that aren't really like comedy queens, because they don't really like cast a lot of older queens and make them succeed on the show anymore, they need to retire Snatch Game. So it just makes them look so bad. It's like, what? Who won? Me and Toadette like tied, girl. Oh, that's awkward. I'm surprised, honestly, if I went on Drag Race, I don't know if I would do this, but I'm really shocked that no one's done Howie Mandel. You have so much there with Howie Mandel. You have the X Factor, you have America's Got Talent, you have Deal or No Deal, you have his germaphobe thing, you have his thing on TikTok. You have so many references with that man that it would be the easiest Snatch game of your life. I would do it if I had to, honestly. Yes, exactly. There's so much there. You could like go back and forth with like the bald, like RuPaul bald, you were bald, Mr. Clean, blah blah. Yes, the booty hole he posted on TikTok. Also how he's like crazy on TikTok nowadays. I feel like there's a lot there. And if you didn't want to step that line, you can just do Deal or No Deal and germaphobe jokes. I would bring a mop and I would mop the floor of Snatch Game while everybody's answering their questions. I would walk into people's frames and like clean. That would be so funny to me. Like cutting into people's cameras, just cleaning. Like, excuse me. Okay, asshole. I think someone did do that, teacher lady. I want them to leak who did their what for Snatch Game this year. Like, I want to know. I don't want to wait. Like, tell me now. Give it to me now. I hope Sasha eats Snatch Game. John Cena would be good. I actually would do John Cena. Well, I loved when Cameron Michaels did China on Snatch Game. And it was really funny. When I do Mae Young. Well, when Courtney did... Oh my god, wait, and what's her name? Jujubee did, Jujubee did Fran in All Stars 1. Amy, thank you for resubscribing. I mean, Natty would be, but it's an obscure reference. RuPaul wouldn't get it, so it wouldn't go over well. I feel like if you did John Cena, I think RuPaul at least knows who John Cena is. Well, I thought Katie Price was a good pick because I actually watched that season. So when Bimini did Katie Price, I was like, oh my god, I know who that is. Or, you know what I would do just to say fuck you? You know what would actually be hilarious to me? If someone did Chris Pratt and made him so mad that he was being posed in Snatch Game. Like, I would take the piss out of Chris Pratt. Like, I would literally go like full gay, like limp wrist, like make him so queer and like make fun of him as on Snatch Game. Like, I'd put him in like a rainbow bow tie. I would make references to Guardians of the Galaxy and like all the shows he's been in and like make it super gay. It'd probably be very problematic, but I'd be like, haha, you're getting posed and played as someone you don't like on TV. Like, I think that would be kind of iconic. Are they not allowed to do that though? I don't think they're allowed to do that. Like, people that aren't like happy about it. No, I don't think that's true actually. I don't think Marie Antoinette would be very pleased with what's happening. That's a good one. I'm surprised no one has done Aubrey Plaza. Yes! Exactly. See, you get it. I feel like I would do that with like a wrestler though. Honestly, doing Ric Flair on Snatch Game would kind of be great. When I start as Charlotte Flair and then do an outfit change into Ric Flair and like draw some lines on my face. I was gonna say Hulk Hogan, but he's problematic as fuck. But I also think that would be another route to do like the thing with Chris Pratt, like make him so overtly gay that he gets mad at it. It surprises me no one's done Anna Faris. Everybody thinks the meme queen is Jennifer Coolidge, and she is. She's iconic, but like no one doing Anna Faris. No one's done Brenda Song. I would do Brenda Song. Like, that's a good one. No one's done Ashley Tisdale. Hello? Where is the class? No one's done Vanessa Hudgens, and she's been on the show and judged other drag shows. I would literally do Vanessa Hudgens and make my entire thing sneaker night. Get your sneakers on, dancing all night long. I got somewhere to be. Do 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 do. Oh my god, no stun run. I did that picture perfect. Nicole Byer is a good one too. RuPaul just wants to see old people, which is annoying. No one wants to do your old people, RuPaul. Ugh, why are we doing old people? Ugh. No, no one has. It's because he's an old fart. Yeah, someone has done Viola Davis. When I do Randy Orton and RKO everybody on the Snatch game. When I do Rey Mysterio. Booyaka booyaka. Trying to think of like pop culture like guys from wrestling that have broken into mainstream. No one's done The Rock. Can you smell? The outfit with like the bang and the... I don't think Peach or Rosalina would work well. Yes! That was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. When I do Ronda Rousey, but I make her ugly. Sorry. Not everybody, you have to make her ugly. She's already ugly. Oh wow, y'all gagged her. Hello, Bev. Hello, my other champion. Yeah, I would fully do Lois if I could, but... I pose. I have 5 stars. Widowmaker here. I do that one meme where she takes out she kills the Zenyatta looking guy and then she goes, ha ha, and then she farts. So motherly. We got a new one. When I do Starfire on Snatch Game. Exactly. I want that one. I want, oh, I'm gonna be sick. Oh, I got one. Get gagged. You guys suck. Oh, I got another. Oh, I'm getting it. Yes! Literally get gagged, you fucking losers. Oh. I don't think so. I don't think Princess Peach would go over well. What are you gonna do? There's no reference. She doesn't talk, really. When I do, I'm putting a rock in this one, and I throw a snowball with a rock in it at RuPaul. You'd have to be really funny to do that, though. And I don't think a lot of people are good at, like, improv and, like, comedy on the spot. Case being the newest edition of Snatch Game. Yeah, but I don't think my humor would go over well on TV. Nor do I ever really want to go on TV ever. Someone said this the other night. I was talking with like people. I think somebody in chat even was like, "Oh my god, Nem, go on Drag Race," and I was like, I think the fandom would make me want to rip my hair out. Like, people that go on Drag Race are so strong because the fandom is so toxic. I could not take it. I could not deal with it. Oh my god, my hands are not ready for this. Oof. Sorry. I'm not sorry at all, actually. Oh my god. Why am I burping so much? Who is fapping? What? Oh, it's my turn. Sorry. For every burp I extend the stream. No! We'd be here for a decade. Oh, this Toadette's getting wrecked. Hey! Oh, you're sick. Oh, there's different routes. Oh, we've gotten a DK space so many times. Get a job. I need to wake up. Blah! Okay, I love everybody that wants to interact with my posts, but the people that are still commenting rants on the ending of my Bayonetta video that is 2 months old, I can't say that I am going to respond. People literally were dragging me in the replies of my own YouTube video. I'm like, then don't watch my YouTube video. I literally said at the top of the playthrough, don't watch this if you like Viola. And people are still mad at me for having my opinion. I'm like, girl, come on now. The Sabasiton. You're a sabasi bobasi fofasi telosasi. I almost have 69 coins. I need 1 coin. I think what Marshall said was fair. The title Bayonetta is something you cannot pass down like Robin. Bayonetta is Cereza and Cereza only. And that's how I stand. This makes me want to play Double Dash. Double Dash on these nuts. Whoa! I want to have Chewios, but I have no Chewios left. I ate my last Chewios yesterday. Move, Peach! Fuck you, lady.
Finish.
Hello, Navi. Bum, bum, bum. The problem with like doing all the boards in these games is like you actually get bored because you've done all the mini games by the end of the duration of it. So like we've done all these mini games already, so I'm like, can we wrap it up? Katrina. Oh shit. Oh. Get your own space, Peach. Mind your business. I just sounded like a raving rabbit. Hi, Cody. Thank you for watching them. I had fun. I'm enjoying my Mario Party Let's Plays. Even though I just said I'm getting bored of this one, but we've done all the mini games in it, so I'm like, what? So what now? So what now? I wish we could watch Total Divas on stream because I would sit here and make you guys watch it. I'm so serious. Gerard, no, this is not the new Mario Party. This is Mario Party 7 for the GameCube. But welcome in everybody coming in now. I'm having a subathon right now, so if you gift a sub, it adds 10. Oh, I almost fell backwards in my chair. 10 minutes to the timer. You can make me stream for almost 24 hours if you give some subs. Or biddies or whatever. It all goes by $5 intervals. Girl, we can't just have a normal turn. It's either dual minigame, DK space, Bowser space, or like, what the frick? Oh, Daisy versus Peach. Oh, this is a defining moment in history. Harley! Thank you for gifting some subs. Getting the timer up to 7 hours. Me and the boys get together at least once a week and do a Mario Party night where we put $5 on the game. That is so... You should do it with this one because there's this one gets crazy, Gerard. You should get this one. Oh, they're about to have a queen off. Queen off! Oh, look at them fighting. Oh, the girls are fighting. Queen off! Queen! This is gonna determine who's the better princess. This is the defining moment in history. Who is the superior princess? It's looking like Peach. Daisy's coming up the rear. Who's coming in the rear? Oh, oh, oh! Oh, I think it's a landslide. Oh. And she stands tall. Mother. Yes, Harley! Isn't it so good? I told you guys. It's the peach flavor, how it doesn't taste like an energy drink. It tastes like almost like a tea with like a little kick to it. This one's got a little sweetness to it. New mini game? Yes. Oh. Work with your partner and load 3 kinds of vegetables into the truck. You must load 2 of each one. What did you message me the other day, Key? You were like, I'm drinking loads. Yeah, because you said you were drinking like lots of alcohol and you were like, yeah, I'm drinking loads tonight. And I was like, you're drinking what? What are you doing? I just thought it was funny. I'm gonna say that when I'm drinking. Oh, I'm drinking loads. You're drinking what? Oh, Peach already got the carrot. You want a carrot? Oh, here's my carrot. The only time you'll see me pick vegetables, this right here. Is this a radish? What is this? Oh, get wrecked. In the option? Oh, really? I mean, it's fine. I like what it kind of got annoying last stream, but this one is like, we're fine. This is the last map anyway. But thank you for letting me know. I wish I knew that earlier though. Well, I'll check so that we can see. Oh, it's a turnip. Oh, the one that like Peach pulls out of her cooch. We should play Smash Bros. That'd be fun. What is he doing? Hey, that's mine! You got 1 coin? Girl. You really ate that. You really did. Do you remember when someone made a very naughty 3D image of Bowser's cock and Nintendo had to send out a cease and desist because they said it was too accurate? Yeah. Real life things happening. Toadette, I'm literally gonna wreck you. I was gonna say ruin, but that did not sound right. Wait, Peach is about to outsell me on this. Look, Peach is gonna eat me up. Yeah, they said, please delete. It was on some guy's Patreon or something. They were like, please delete this. The cease and desist literally says it's too accurate. Look it up. Or you can go to my YouTube. My YouTube has a short, like it's like a 1-minute video of me talking about it back in the day. Well, I'm about to land on this space, so... They're called sporps. Me when I'm a sporp. She does what on your what? We are shearing sheep. We are shearing sheep. We are shearing. Yeah! Total Drama Island reference. When I sleep on stream, we could watch Total Drama Island together. Because that's a YouTube show. Oh my god, we won. We'll watch it tonight. Not Toadsworth being like, you're broke. He said, girl, bye. I love the look. Very Avril boy, skater boy, Paxson. Thank you. I knew if we got to the sub goal that I would have to change my outfit. So, wait, so 17 plus 5, we're at 23. No, 22. So if we get 3 more subs, I'll do a little drinky drink. Okay. All right. I was asking for 2 or 3, and this man walks in and added and made it almost 10 hours to the timer. Wow. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to my favorite daddy. Good morning, Curtis. The bot trying to catch up is so funny. You'll be sleeping while I'm you'll be, yeah, real. Bot, thank you so much for coming in. How you doing? Hi, Mary. Enjoy your sub. Oh, oh! 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 you guys. Can you punch in this? Ah! Wow. Well, he is a dad, so he has to care for his child, and then he also has to care for me. So, very real. Thank you, Mary. Well, looks like I have to do a little drinky drink. Ah! Do I even have a shot glass? He-hims have to open their wallets. It's actually true. So we're at 38 right now. So whatever the sub count is at, we have to add 5 because Bunny Boy gifted 5 subs, but I didn't add the thing yet. So we're at 37 right now. I think 50 is the goth girl looks for 2 weeks. It was already used in the hour. Okay, I'm waiting for it to be my turn so I can go and get this magical beverage.
Good morning, Krusty Krab.
Well, looks around. At least it matches my outfit. Poses. Real. It's warm. It's been sitting on my counter for like 2 months. Pink Whitney is a fun time. This is a huge shot glass! This is like 10 shots. Girl. It's Pink Whitney. No, it's not. This is literally huge. I'm gonna need a chaser and not a tea chaser, if you know what I'm saying. Giggles, giggles. Yes, first shot of the night. That's not a shot glass. What is it? This isn't a shot glass? It looks like one. It gets cold when I undo my zipper. You put whiskey in? No, I can't do that. No, no. I should have got wine for tonight. I should have went to the store and got wine. I mean, I still could, but I would be in drag, so it'd be kind of weird. They'd be like, what are you doing here? Okay. I haven't done a shot since TwitchCon, and last time I did a shot, I was at TwitchCon and I was throwing up in Marisol's bathroom and I was naked. So let's hope I don't get naked on the live. Okay, cheers to the subathon. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for being slay and giving me money. Do you do the thing off the cheers and then you like tap it on the... Very good tea. No, it's just water in a G Fuel cup. Trust me. I'm not trying to get crazy. I didn't know you sipped your shots. Okay, you know what? Fuck you, Necro. You haven't gifted any subs yet. So you can't comment on my shot drinking abilities. Give me money, then you can do something. Gagged you. Oh, almost a good one. I feel the taste of the alcohol in my throat. Very good tea. Right. Anyways. With my pink Whitney drink, I'm matching Birdo. I bought this for my sister and she never wanted it. And I was like, okay. Because my sister loves pink Whitneys. She just robbed me. Oh my god, I thought we were winning and everybody has 3 stars and I have 2. Well, I'm in last place. Girl. Oh yeah. Birdo takes her giant nose and puts it right in here and goes, yeah. Bev just messaged me saying to say bye to you since they had to go to a driving lesson. Well, they should text and drive. I think that would be a good idea. I think it's okay, wow, like O-K-A-Y. Wait, okay is literally okay, like okay, like the letters okay is okay. So why do we spell it with an A-Y if it's just okay? You had 1 shot! Shut up! My mind is just working so magically with the G Fuel and the shot in my stomach. Your brain is so braining right now. Get ready for 9 more hours of this. Can we get some more? Can we get 100? Why did they turn long? Toadette, let's, please. Toadette, please, let me push. Let me push the baby. I'm pregnant. Well, we want to congratulate our friend Nikki on her marriage. We are so proud of you. And our friend Lana for her pregnancy. Toadette, can you please have some class? Oh, they're gonna fall. Oh, we won. The way Natty thought she ate, she was like, oh, I'm gonna cut the promo of my life on this microphone at this restaurant with all these random people. And then she was like, congratulations. Hi, Max. On your pregnancy. The way she thought she ate. I'm so sorry. She's hilarious. We're not winning this board. I say that every board for the last 3 streams, but this one we're not winning. I have 1 star, Peach has 4. Even if we got bonus stars, I'm losing. Girl, it's a wrap. No, that was so bad. Do you think Shotzi deserves a title? What was it? Hey, Bangaroos. Do you think Shotzi should get a title Shotzi? Girl. I can't. So cringe. Watch this. This is gonna get me back in the game. It giggles very demurely. Sipping the Shotzi. Well, if we get 500, the Shotzi will become reality because I'll be in a great... Also, I will do, if somebody, after this, if we get 15 more, I'll play Mario Kart and do another Shotzi. Blackheart. If you know what I'm saying. Not title Shotzi instead of he, they. When we watch a compilation of bad Ronda Rousey promos, aka every promo she's ever had. Sorry. It's just reality. Get her for me. Get her. Also, in the new Mario movie, they make Kamek a he, him. I disagree. I disagree. Kamek is they, she pronouns. Yeah. Well, everybody's promo against Nikki Bella was about John Cena, and I was like, can you guys like literally come up with something else? Blue, thank you for resubscribing for the subathon. Thanks, baby. 14 more Bangaroos if you want a title Shotzi. This one gets crazy. We're about to go crazy. I smell moisturizer. What's happening? I keep thinking I'm playing Toadette. I smell burning toast. Oh! Whoa! Wonder Babe, thank you so much for the resubscription as well. I heard earlier that he hams have to open their wallet, so I can't argue with that. Exactly, you get it. You get it. There's a he, him toll. Like, you have to go through the toll. You have to flash your pronouns, and if there's he, him, you have to open the wallet. Hype train is close. Nods, giggles. I keep looking for snacks, but the only snack I have on my desk is this granola bar, and I don't want to eat a granola bar. Does Peach have 7 stars now? Oh, we lost. Oh, we actually lost. Right. Anyways. Okay, can we have that conversation that I was having on Twitter earlier? Guys, why do some months have 30 days and some have 31? I just want to know, like, who decided that? Girl, take her money. What? Well, now you're gonna be broke, Toadette. Girl, she's gonna have no money left. She only has 3 coins, girl. She literally can only give me 3. An effort to balance out the seasons when normal weather patterns still happened. Right. Anyways. Oh, good one. It's an ancient Rome thing. Well, you know what they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. I fucking hate this minigame. Maybe 31 days, maybe 28 days, because February is just a little quirky. She's too much. Fuck February. Hate that bitch. Oh, we're not giving. Peach, go! What are you doing? Dumbass. Wait, so July and August are after Julius and Augustus Caesar? How does that make sense? Why do they get a month? Why don't I get a month? Where's the Nemesis month? I don't want November. That's Scorpio season. Gross. Yes! I'm literally relying on the bonus stars. I miss this game so much. Isn't it good? It's such a good one. I think 4 to 7 are the best Mario Party games. Well, 8's actually good too, but that's where it starts like going on the decline. Hi, Narosa, I'm doing good. For now. For now. I didn't even look at the options like Cody told me to. You can. Got it. Went from 6 to 9 hours real fast. Well, Curtis came in and gifted 15. And then we had 2 resubs. Hi, Blue. Welcome in. It's for every 1 sub gifted, it's 10 minutes. So it stacks up pretty fast. We're doing every 2v2. New one to end it. Yes. Look at the card at the center of the screen and ground pound the matching card pair. How's party going? This is the last turn, then we're gonna swap over to Double Dash. Clocked. No, Toadette, that's a fake one. Okay. Unfair.
Finish.
I agree, Crimson. I want them to do that, which is so annoying that they haven't. I really would like it. I would. Okay, we win. I'm 1 star behind Peach, so we need a bonus star. We actually need 2 because I think she has more coins than me. Yep, she does. So we need 2 stars to win. We need 2 of these bonus stars or we lose. Running star, shopping star, red star. It's gonna be close. I don't think that's me. Oh, shit. I thought we could have gotten that one. All right, these next 2 stars have to be mine or we lose. Shopping star, I don't think that's me either. Oh no, we lost! Peach outdanced us. I didn't get any of the bonus stars. That is so humiliating. F you and your mom. Oh, she went 146? Shit. I was 1 away. He did. Toadette went to the store 10 times. Girl, get a hobby. She's hard. Peach is hard? What? Oh, wow. Well, that's unfortunate we couldn't unlock Dry Bones because I really wanted to play as Dry Bones because he's one of my favorite characters. But they're locked behind such high level, like, stuff. Well, I can buy it now, but, like, there's no point. There's no boards to play. I wish there was a way to unlock the last board, but there's not. We have to do the story, which means we'd have to replay through every single board. I'm good. Hi, Iris. I've actually never played this map. It's always been locked for me. But it was fun. It was fun, Toadsworth. I appreciate having you here.